I'm not big for you. I'm big for me.
Wow, because I really thought I was on my way.
Only you can stop you. Go for it.
Hi, I'm Keri Murphy, and welcome back to Inspired Living TV. Have you ever met someone who truly changed the way you live your life, helped you connect on a deeper level? Maybe you're searching for that. Maybe you are looking for more meaning, more purpose, more connection to spirituality. Today, I am so excited to introduce you to someone who is a dear, dear friend of mine and truly has transformed my life, and I know she will do the same for you. Sabrina, thank you so much for joining me today. I've been wanting to sit down with you for quite some time. You had such a profound and continue to have a profound impact on my life. And I can't wait for everyone else to understand and learn what it is that you do and how they get this divine connection, this deeper connection to themselves, to the universe, to God. And it's a huge part of inspired living, and of course it's the work you do. So you consider yourself a spiritual intuitive healer, right? So how, when someone meets you for the first time, what do you say to them? What do you do? I changed your life.
I could start saying that.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
That would be interesting. Actually, you change your life.
Yeah.
I simply facilitate. I consider myself, in truth, if I were, using the English language to really capture the essence of what I do, I'm a facilitator. I'm a vessel for that which needs to be spoken to the person that is inquiring. So basically, when I meet people, I automatically, tune into what needs to be expressed. Either they're not expressing it, or they need to feel safe enough to express it. And from there, the conversation opens up to whatever it is they're struggling with, what their pain is, and the emotional release starts to happen.
Right.
So I do a combination of intuitive therapy, emotional healing, and spiritual transformation, which ultimately is up to the individual. As I said, I'm a facilitator. So
Right.
if the person is willing and open and ready to do the work, then the transformation happens for them on their own.
You know what's so interesting, Sabrina? When I met you, a dear friend introduced us, and I didn't feel like I needed you, to be honest. It was like, you need to meet Sabrina. And I will never forget our first conversation. You're like, you're successful, you're driven, but you don't have a spiritual practice. And I was like, yes, I do, right?
Yeah.
I'm spiritual. But what you've taught me over the last year and a half has taken it to a whole different level.
Yeah.
And so
Thank you.
it's been amazing, and we're definitely going to share that with you. But how did you get into becoming, you were in corporate, very successful,
Yes.
and then did you just wake up one day and say, I think
Yeah.
I'll be
I
spiritual?
fell on my head and I woke up a different person.
Right.
That's not how it happened.
No.
That's not how it happened. So first of all, thank you. I acknowledge, everything that you've shared in terms of the impact I've had on your life, and that's really because of your willingness. I'm so honored and humbled to be able to do what I do, and it really came effortlessly. In the sense where I was in the corporate world, as you mentioned, for many years, over a decade, and I did have a lot of success in the corporate world. But like most people, I was doing what I thought I had to do. I was doing what I was conditioned to believe was the solution to finding a sense of self, a sense of fulfillment, a sense of accomplishment. Like most human beings, you strive to achieve, to get, to arrive,
to accumulate.
Exactly. We're sort of doomed to consume, if you will.
Yeah.
When we're in very much not connected to God, not connected to ourselves. And most people believe that they're spiritual. They enjoy the idea of being spiritual, or they resonate with spiritual concepts. But to practice spirituality is a different thing.
And what is that? When you say practice spirituality, what do you mean by that?
Okay, so the first thing I would recommend is a daily meditation practice. That's really the gateway, and it doesn't matter what modality you're choosing, or what text you're reading, or what philosophy resonates the most for you. All of them point to cultivating a deep inner silence within. which teaches us to establish that connection to God, that connection to our higher self. For me, God and higher self are synonyms of each other. And so it's through, the practice of spirituality, developing that connection. And then, the other basic thing would be taking 100% responsibility for the quality of our experience.
Absolutely.
Right?
Right.
And so
So you're saying don't blame everyone.
Oh my God, yes.
Right? Absolutely. I just want to say 100% responsibility.
Yes.
So you believe that we truly are in control of what we create?
Oh, completely. I believe that, we are the creators of our universe. We are expressions of God that have, through intention, conscious intention, sometimes not so conscious, but through intention, we manifest the environment that we live in. We manifest our circumstances, our relationships, our finances, our jobs, everything, our health, is the belief. Our belief system informs every cell in the body, and every cell in the body in turn creates and manifests the environment that we live in. And when you bring a lot of people together collectively, like in a society, there is usually a general belief system that most people participate in. And so this happens on an individual level, also happens on a societal level, and even on a global level.
So you started to immerse yourself in this practice.
Yes.
And you were in this corporate career.
Yeah,
And
I'll tell you how it happened.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how it happened. So I was in the corporate world, as I said, very much trying to arrive and achieve and accumulate and feel successful. And I mean, inside I was very unhappy. I was disconnected. I was very disconnected from myself. Emotionally, I was in a lot of pain. There were things that I had gone through even as a child and a young teenager that I hadn't actually dealt with and processed and healed from. And so, sooner or later, the body presents its bill. We can only avoid what we haven't dealt with or healed.
You can only suppress for so long.
For so long, exactly. Yeah. And so I started to break down emotionally. Regardless of the success that was around me, I started to make poor choices. I started to really withdraw from the world. I started to feel resigned and apathetic to my life. And ultimately, I knew, especially having arrived at a certain level of success, that the only place left to look was within. And so I immersed myself in spiritual work. I joined, conscious communities, and I read books, and I went to classes, and I did, a bunch of different things, which are all phenomenal. They're all, as long as the teaching is integrous and it resonates with you on some level, and it doesn't create some kind of dependency. It's the teaching is really about you learning self-reliance, self-fulfillment, and self-awareness. All of those teachings are good. And so through my journey, I had a series of very profound, life-altering spiritual experiences, which really woke me up. And I have to say that, I really believe that what happened for me was a result of a very deep longing. A longing for answers, a longing for the truth, a longing for understanding, who I am and why am I here. And I think that that's a question that most people
have. Why am
themselves.
I here? Yeah.
Who am I? Why am I here? Those are really the two questions that create that opening. When a person starts to contemplate those questions, then, that inquiry sets up the most favorable conditions for an awakening of sorts.
Do you feel like, Sabrina, I feel like in our society today, you have people like Eckhart Tolle and Deepak and the Dalai Lama, and you're looking at all these people as one extreme, and then you have kind of that doom to consume, go, and I think people might feel intimidated. Like, I can't sit and meditate for hours, or am I spiritual enough, or I'm not like that.
That's totally a type A ego-based way of approaching spirituality, and most people will approach it that way because that's how they approach life, myself included. There was a time in my life when I approached something where, I needed to be perfect, or I needed to do it right, and I had to make sure I was doing it right, and, spirituality is not like that, and even the term spirituality, there's never not God. You already are spiritual, whether you're aware of it or not.
Right.
That's just it's about becoming aware of it.
Connected to that.
Exactly. And so really, even in spiritual parlance, we talk about healing and all of these things. Fundamentally, all human beings are whole, perfect, and complete. That is our essence. There's nothing wrong with us. There's nothing to heal. It's really just about expanding our level of consciousness, where we become aware of ourselves as whole, perfect, and complete on an experiential level,
Right.
not just intellectually, right? And
Yeah.
so again, there's the distinction between, knowing about something and knowing it from experience.
Let's talk about that too, because a lot of times in my business, when I have a big decision, I used to, before Sabrina, like sit there and contemplate and think about what should I do, right?
Right.
And it is in the doing. I think, again, entrepreneurs, we're type A, we're type Bs, we're like, go, go, go. And I love it because whenever I talk to you, like, well, have you breathed on it? Have you actually just meditated on it and asked God or the universe, what is right for you?
Right, and so and for me, it's a clear distinction, and I find it very useful for everyday people to even just to stop the struggling, is to really develop a practice whereby you're sitting quiet and you're breathing and you're just.
I just want to start breathing when I hear that.
I know, me too. Let's do that. So you're sitting quiet and you're just breathing, and you just take the answer. You just send it out, whatever term works better for you, universe, God, or to your higher self, and they're all synonyms of each other,
Right.
So it just really putting out the question and learning to sit and listen until the answer comes through. And usually the first response is the correct one.
Right.
You
And
know?
we judge it. We say, is this the right one?
Yeah.
Did I feel that right?
So when we find ourselves trying to figure things out and force outcomes and manipulate circumstances and really strategize with the mind, you're coming from ego.
Right.
And you know that you're coming from, first of all, when you're coming from ego, you're only coming from past experiences. You're coming from what you already know based on your own inner subjective experience of what's already happened to you.
Sure, that all those beliefs, all those things that
Right,
have happened
and that
to us.
perception, likely, if you're coming from ego, that perception has nothing to do with the truth. It has nothing to do with what's possible.
Really amazing.
It has nothing to do with what you're capable of. It has nothing to do with your intention and what's in your heart. You may have had an experience where you've tried to start your own business. Say, for example, in the work that you do, someone's tried to start their own business, 5 or 6 or 7 times and failed, and the feeling now is, oh, should I start another business? Well, I don't think so based on my past, right? So there's a reaction, and ego says, don't do that. That's a recipe for failure, or that's a recipe for feeling like a failure,
Sure, right.
And so, but if you tune into your heart and it's something that really inspires you and you feel it, and the inner response when you are in quiet meditation is to follow your heart and to follow your dreams, then you must absolutely follow that. You must absolutely.
I just got little goosebumps.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, because there's every moment is a new one. Every moment is a new one.
Okay, I just want you to listen to that. Every moment is a new one. You cannot base future decisions on past failures and mistakes.
Absolutely. The only reason to ever look in the past is just to simply see how far you've come.
Yes.
If you need to do that, But when you live in the present moment, every moment is so full of if especially when you come from a place of awareness, it is so full of opportunity, it's full of grace, it's full of love, it's full of life,
Yes.
and we have an opportunity to feel connected to all of that through our presence, through our willingness to be present and therefore experiencing the presence.
How important is it to set clear intentions?
Really important, because as human beings, we are energy, right?
Right.
You are energy, I'm energy, and so, we're always manifesting, whether we're conscious of it or not. And so most people, if they really take a step back and start to realize, we were talking about earlier, 100% responsibility, and they start realizing, okay, well, I created all of this,
Right.
which is sometimes a little unsettling.
Sure.
But
people are like, I don't want to take responsibility for that.
when things are not going well. But the good news is if you created that, you can create something completely different.
Yeah.
Right? And so as we take a step back and we start to get in alignment with what we actually want. For most of us, and you know this from the work that I do, for most of us, what's happening on a subconscious level is not necessarily in alignment with what's happening on a conscious level.
Absolutely.
And so we may want certain things, but we have been conditioned and ultimately have gotten used to, on a cellular level, to feel a certain way about ourselves.
Yes.
And so we have tendencies, no matter how hard we work, we end up in debt. Or no matter how many times we try and be in loving partnership, we end up alone or single. Or no matter how many times we try to, create whatever it is, sometimes we end up in sort of default patterns. it's not because we're doing something wrong. It's just because we're not in alignment.
Right.
Make sense?
So how do we get in alignment?
Perfect. So again, we're back to meditation.
Back to meditation.
All roads lead back
to meditation.
Well, and meditation, there's so many different meditation techniques. And I want to take a moment to say that they're all credible and they're all valid.
But for someone who's just starting out, maybe for someone that's watching saying, you know what, I want what she is talking about.
Yeah.
What are some easy steps, Sabrina, that they can do?
Yeah, so the first, the most natural thing we all do without even thinking about is breathing, right? And so the first basic step in terms of developing a connection to our inner self, to being able to develop the discipline to sit in silence and to really start to feel the presence, of our higher self, of God, is simply just to breathe.
And I just have to say, when I take the time to do this,
Yeah.
And it was a little bit easier, I have to say, before baby Lauren came into my
Yes.
life, but I'm committed to getting back to that because it really is, it changes your day, it changes how you show up, it changes everything. It really is amazing.
Yeah, it completely sets the tone. You were talking about setting clear intentions. That's the time when you want to do that. So if you start just breathing, I like to breathe diaphragmatically. So basically breathing in through the nose, allowing the breath to, fill up the lungs and ultimately expand in the belly. And so breathing in and out through the diaphragm, it's scientifically proven that it calms the central nervous system. It grounds us, it brings us back into our center and into our bodies, into the present moment. And so it's a great tool, and it's so counterintuitive to the way we're normally used to breathing.
Yes,
normally
that fight or flight breath, right?
Exactly. We stay in our chest and the brain interprets that, okay, we're under attack, and it's really not conducive to the human experience. It's not healthy for us to be in fight or flight all the time, right? And so as we start to breathe diaphragmatically and slow down, then we become more relaxed. And in that space of breathing diaphragmatically, when the central nervous system can calm down, the body can calm down, you start to feel safe, and then as you start to feel safe, you start to feel grounded, and through the breath, you can start to feel the mind quiets. In the early stages of meditation, and this is what discourages everybody, racing brain. Thoughts come in and to-do list.
Why do I keep thinking of things? Yes.
To-do list and I have, a million things.
And then it's like, I can't do it. I'm not good at this.
Right. And of course, there's that type A ego base says that I need to be perfect at this and I can't do meditation, so I'm not going to do it at all. Right. And so these are just barriers, they're just barriers that if you breathe through and stay determined, again, willingness is the key that opens every door.
Absolutely.
The willingness to stay in your heart, the willingness to choose love, the willingness to forgive, the willingness to have a direct experience of God. I was telling you about my spiritual awakening really came as a result of willingness. I wanted to know, I wanted to feel that, I wanted to experience that more than I wanted anything else. And that's what creates the opportunity to transcend whatever temporary limitation may be presenting itself. It could be a distracting thought, it could be a physical sensation or an emotional experience that may be pulling you out of the present moment. If you sit with it and breathe, you notice how impermanent all of that is.
Right, it comes and goes.
Exactly.
Right.
And what's really, what always remains is the awareness. That's permanent. That is the truth of who you are. That's not anything anyone can take away from you. It's not anything to improve upon. It's not anything that needs healing, ever. And if you learn to tune in to the truth of who you are, you can operate from that place. And that's the space where you want to set very clear intentions, because you're creating alignment with what you want, what your heart desires, what you'd like to have, and you're practicing telling yourself, okay, well, I want to create,
Are there keys to doing this? Are there different steps or things that you need to notice when you are looking at what you want to manifest? Is there a way in which to do that, or is it?
Absolutely, for sure. So we're talking about manifesting specifically? Yeah. Okay.
Tell them how to manifest what they want.
Everybody wants to know.
I know, right?
I know. And the first thing I would ask you is, why do you want to manifest that? What is it about having that represent? Because the reason why people want to manifest specific things is because of how that thing is going to make them feel.
Sure, that's why we want anything.
Right.
That's how it's going to make us feel.
So, I want this, or I'd love to create that, or I'd love to create, because it's going to make me feel amazing.
Right.
And so the key to manifesting is to focus on how you want to feel. Right? Is really just to focus on how you want to feel. Let go of the outcomes, and the specific you know, things, you know, whether it's an object or a dollar figure or things like that. And I would really encourage, you know, everyone to just be in surrender to whatever serves your highest and best good, and focus on being in joy. You know, the first step to manifestation is, as I teach it, is the purity of intention. So the intention needs to be pure. It has to come from a place of love. It has to come from a place of simply wanting to amplify that which is already whole, perfect, and complete.
Right.
So when you're manifesting, you have to make sure that you're not manifesting, the intention is not coming from a place of lack. You know, like, oh, when you say I want that, you're also saying I don't have it. Right? And so it's a matter of saying, well, no, I am this and I have that. Right? Now I'm amplifying that which I already feel within myself.
That is really juicy. Like, that's really good, because I think most of us want things because we don't feel like we have it.
Exactly.
But we have everything that we need, and we're just going to amplify that when we're
Absolutely.
manifesting.
When you start, because you are infinite, and we all are infinite and abundant and powerful beyond measure. And so when we start to relate to ourselves that way, we're stepping into the truth. We're actually stepping into alignment. When I say I'm an expression of God, I'm stepping into alignment. When I say I'm infinite and powerful and abundant, I'm stepping into alignment.
Yes.
Right? And so from that place of
Yes.
alignment, I can create, you know what, I would really love to have a successful, you know, business or a successful partnership. And I believe that I already have that. Right? And so we're stepping into alignment. And
So you're coming from that place of I have,
Yes.
I am, instead of I want, I need.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because I want, I need implies that there's something lacking over here,
Right.
and that's not the truth. And when you're not in alignment, you can't really manifest something that is sustainable, something that doesn't feel like a struggle, something that's going to feel integrous to you when you're coming from lack.
Sure.
Make sense?
Absolutely.
So, and here's the other important piece to this in the second step. You know, we're talking about alignment and staying in vibrational alignment, you know, with the intention of that which we are choosing to manifest. You know, and then eventually what we need to address is worthiness. And this is a big piece for all people.
So many. Yes.
As most of us, you know, really want things, and we would, you know, we love the experience of being in joy, and we love the experience of the visualization of being in partnership or having a successful business. And on some level, there is a little voice inside, you know, a little 5-year-old voice inside that says, I don't deserve to have that, you know, or I don't, you know, that I am not worthy of love, or I'm not worthy of this, right? And again, we're talking about ego mind. Right? And so that needs to be addressed, you know, and the whoever is doing the manifesting, you and I, when we're manifesting, really need to understand that we are worthy of everything our heart desires. You know, if the desire is there, it's because your soul is basically saying you're ready for this.
Right. And that's one of the things that you and I, like, we just get so excited about,
Yes.
because I completely believe that too, that if that longing is there,
Yes.
it's there for a reason.
It's there for a reason. There is a part of you, an undeveloped aspect of you, that is saying, okay, I am ready to come into full potentiality. I'm ready to really, emerge and be made manifest in the world of form. The desire that you have, or anybody, is teaching you something about yourself, about the path that you're supposed to be on. And that's something that you want to listen to. That's your guide.
I also feel like when we ignore that,
It creates neuroses.
yes.
It creates neuroses.
Yes, exactly.
You feel out of alignment.
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
of a sudden, then we start to manifest illness, and we start to manifest all kinds of suffering, because we're not in alignment. Again, that's what we've been talking about,
Right.
the whole time, is just stepping into the truth of who we are, and then allowing ourselves to express that, depending on whatever our heart's desire to serve is.
Sabrina, you know how much I love you. Literally implementing what Sabrina's talking about and working with her, I've done a lot of work. I've done therapy and, have done all sorts of things, and really understanding the practice of meditation and manifesting and all of those things has been truly remarkable in my life. And it is inspired living to me. What does inspired living mean to you?
Inspired living means, very much I resonate with everything you shared. It really does mean living a life that is divinely guided and directed by a sense of who we actually are.
Yes.
Who we feel in our hearts. An inspired life is one that is given by, love and a desire to be of service.
Yeah.
you know, which to me is the most fulfilling experience. Once we step out of ourselves and we awaken to, you know, how perfect we are, our perfect nature, we want to scream it from the mountaintop.
Yeah.
We want to tell everybody, right? We want to share it with people. We want to make sure that everyone else has the opportunity to awaken as well. And that's the beautiful part about developing a spiritual practice and living spiritually, not just talking about it, but living it, is that becomes a natural byproduct,
Yeah.
you know? And so this way I can live an inspired life, and just by having this conversation with you, you can walk away and live an inspired life, and so on.
It
and
really
so
is
on.
that ripple effect.
Absolutely.
So Sabrina, if people want to find out more about you and the work that you do, where do they go?
SabrinaHeartstrong.com.
SabrinaHeartstrong.com.
Yes.
Sabrina Heartstrong, I love you. Thank you for being
love you
here.
too. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching this Inspired Living episode. We would love to hear from you, so please post your comments below and make sure to share this with other people that you think it would have an impact on, because when you are inspired, you inspire others. And if you want more inspiration, and I know you do, just head over to inspiredliving.tv, join our community, and get your free gift. And remember to keep dreaming it, living it, and being it. Until next time.